Yeah.
Subduals. J-Dog here out at goddamn Maryland Death Fest. We got our fucking first interview of the day. We got the goddamn all three guys from the band Brodequin. So you guys have been doing shit for the last few years because you guys are broken. You were broken up for shit. How many years?
Oh, geez, I don't know. There was a hiatus there of how many would you say it was? I mean, once it was several years, probably 15, 16, before we actually got back into the flow of things again, so to speak.
Well, and so it's you guys are brothers,
Right.
And it's funny because you walked over here and like, nice to meet you. We've actually met several times
before, several times. Yeah. It's just one of those things when you haven't seen somebody for a long time.
Yeah,
just kind of a courtesy to be like, hey, you know what I mean? One of those situations where I want to make it weird, like, oh yeah, we've known you forever, even though we have.
Yeah,
it's just
because I don't know if you remember, it's even on the Festivals of Death. Correct. CDLP, those photos, me, right. Eric, and our brother Chase.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we were like back then. We were kids.
Right. That was before Hell's Headbangers.
Well, so it probably was just starting, but yeah, because I was like 15, 16 when we were starting it, but it was like we were just starting as a hobby, like just doing shit. So it was like,
I guess because it was credited as I think Brian came up with the name for you guys, like the Brothers in Brutality.
Brothers in Brutality. That's what they call it. Yeah, right. That's what they always call us. Yeah.
That. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so it was always a thrill because even Chase is not here, but yeah, we do Hell's Headbangers together. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I emailed definitely, one of you, I think, because I know he's the Bailey Brothers, Mike and Jamie. Yep. Which one of you does, or do you both do Unmatched Brutality?
So Mike started that forever ago, and he did that for a long, long time. Then I kind of took it for a while, and now it's just on hiatus. The way things are going, the shipping prices are so bad that it's difficult to justify charging what we charge because we're losing on every sale we make. You know what I mean? So you charge $20 for a shirt, you make a little money on the shirt, but with CDs being what they are, all the costs are going higher and higher, and so that takes out of the bands. Like I can't offer a band as much as I would like to offer them because of the expenses of everything else. So that's kind of on hold for the time being.
We're gonna be losing viewers out the ass with this fucking terrible background music.
Total confusion.
Oh, this is supposed to be goddamn MDF.
Setting the mood, man. Setting the mood.
So yeah, because I emailed, like I can't remember if it was you or Mike, which one, for Hell's to reissue the first two on vinyl. Okay. You guys never fucking replied. I haven't busted your balls on the channel.
I don't even remember that. No, I have no idea. I don't know what email address it would have
been. But ironically enough, though, it was funny because I bought them. I forget which label, a Spanish label, did Instruments of Torture, Festival of Death. Like 3-4 months after I mentioned, I'm like, oh, they're coming out, and I bought them from that label. So I mean, I'm sure you know about them. Like,
yeah, I have no idea who it was. I don't remember.
I remember the name of that label though. But I remember you were talking about.
Yeah, they did Gorgasm, the EP, the Stab Intercourse as well.
I didn't even see an Instruments vinyl because they never sent us any. I saw that like probably, I'd say 7 or 8 years after it was released. A friend of mine had a store up in Wisconsin. He's like, "Oh, we got some of your vinyls." I'm like, "Cool, I've never seen one."
Well, are you talking about the very first pressing you ever seen? Funny thing is the very first pressing of the vinyl. I have that one too. I have the first pressing and the repress like a few years ago. The first pressing I had, you guys and Chad Wall, still signed by all you guys.
That's cool. That's super cool. Yeah, we never got any of those. The pink ones, the pink vinyl.
Yeah. Well, why don't you get your own shit? You didn't go through Hell's. Dude, we would have gave you a 15 to 20% cut.
Well, we were supposed to. They just never came.
Yeah.
They were shipped. Maybe they were shipped. I don't know. I just know we never
There was something weird with that guy's address because I actually did a CD version of the CBT Last Days of Humanity. And at the same time. And I sent him, I forget what the percentage was at the time, but I sent him maybe like 150 of them or something. Fucking 4 months later, the dude's blowing up my email saying I'm ripping him off and everything else. And 4 months later, a package shows up. It got there, it was stamped, and it got returned to me.
Oh.
So it's like, I don't know what's going on with your mail over there, but I sent him pictures and everything. I was like, give me a different address, dude, and I'll send these back to you. So it was kind of chaos with that.
So let's get some Mr. Helmet t-shirt down there, some fucking airtime. So I remember, seeing Brodequin on, literally Instruments of Torture was the only thing up. When you guys came to Cleveland, played around Baxter Shop, and I remember Chad being like, I remember being legitimately impressed seeing him on drums. So how are you feeling that goddamn, how you feeling them shoes?
Dude, nervous as fuck. I'm shaking my boots over here.
Shaking the boots? You ain't wearing boots, dude. You're wearing some guy, looks like you're going to go shoot some hoops.
Some George Collius fucking signatures,
Now, you play on the very new record, right?
Yes, Harbinger, and then the Perpetuation promo as well.
Because I've only heard one song from the new album the guys post on YouTube. Because usually, to be completely honest, usually when I see "We're Back," I'm like, oh, dude, here we go. It's going to sound nothing like where they left off.
I know.
And I listen, I'm like, It's actually pretty good. I was like, that actually sounds like Brodequin.
Right.
I was like, because most bands, I was like, this doesn't sound like anything where you left off at.
Yeah, it's super common, isn't it?
Very.
Yeah, it really is. So for us, even though there was that break, once it came back to actually writing, it was kind of like we just picked up where we left off. You know, there was no conscious effort to say, well, we have to do it this way, or we need to be different now because it's been so long, and, you know, come out with a totally different sound. It was just, here we go, business as usual.
Well, it's so like, him down there, he looks pretty young. He looks like he just started fucking last week. So were you even alive when Instruments Torture came out?
Yeah.
How old are you?
Born in '97. So
Okay, so you're alive. He was alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barely, but he was there.
So what happened to Chad then? Why isn't he on the butt, man? Bad blood, good blood, just didn't want to do it. It's out of metal, dead or in jail. Like, what happened?
I have no idea where he's at. The last I heard, he's in Canada. I mean, I think he's in Canada. I haven't talked to him in many, many years. I definitely, every time anybody asks, I always say, look, Chad was a fantastic drummer. There's nothing there. And we hung out so much. It was insane. Like, it was us three all the time. Somewhere in the Festival of Death recording and mixing, something just didn't go right. And it made it very difficult to kind of have that same relationship. And just wasn't going to work as far as that goes. There was some kind of tension or something I can't exactly put my finger on, and it just was a split, and it's unfortunate because he is a very good drummer. I mean, always has been a very talented drummer. So it's a sad thing. I don't know what I can point at and say, well, this is the cause and this is why, and maybe that's common with a lot of bands when you spend so much time together, and it's pretty much almost like family. And sometimes these things happen and friction happens, and it's just, I don't want to say it's irreparable, but it's one of those situations where it makes it not possible to create like you want to create. And I think that's where we found ourselves.
Yeah, I would say so, because I can't pinpoint like one particular instance, but I would definitely bring it back to the Festival Death recording sessions. I don't know when it happened, maybe our first few days. We were down in Florida for that. I guess we spent like 2 weeks down there doing the recording, and it was just this crazy up and down scenario, where it was like everything's cool, everything's normal, and then it was just like all hell broke loose. And for me, I was like, fuck this,
What do you guys think of like the, 'cause I remember, when Instruments came out, and it was kind of like, again, I was young, and it was when like, I would say that scene was like when it was trying to take like stuff like Suffocation and Carcass, the early 90s, Cannibal Corpse, Butcher to Birth, that whole late 90s, early 2000s is when it was trying to take that whole scene to the next extremity wise.
Right.
And by 2005, me personally, I got a little burned out on it. Next I was burned out. I was like, everybody was copying other bands. Yeah. And the funny thing is one of the bands I always thought was actually, I could tell you the main four bands it seemed like people were trying to rip off. It was Devourment.
Yeah.
Brodequin, Disgorge from California, especially with She Like Gutted, and like Cock and Ball Torture. Yeah. And everybody like wanted to sound like those bands. Yeah. And it's funny because I remember when Instruments came out, at least around the Brian Baxter scene and shit like that, Molesting the Decapitate was considered like, the guttural, most brutal thing. But I remember when I heard, and I do like that record.
Oh, yeah.
But when I heard Instruments, I thought it was better because it was faster. Even though they say we're the fastest, sickest, heaviest. Right. No, you're not. You're kind of slamming shit. I was like, I was Instruments and stuff. I was like, that was way faster, and it was also raw.
Very raw. Yeah, which in a lot of ways was not necessarily intended.
Yeah, I love how it sounds.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it happened.
A lot of mic bleed.
A lot of what?
A lot of mic bleed.
A lot of mic bleed.
Whatever it is, dude. Because I like how that, because it gave its own identity.
Right.
It wasn't like, it didn't sound like a commercial fucking polished record.
No, I get it. Yeah, there's a lot of people like yourself that love that just love every bit about it.
Because I like festivals, but I didn't like it as much specifically because it sounded. It's like, it's not as raw.
Yeah, I get it. No, we hear that. We hear that all the time. We really do. And it's interesting, and it's just one of those things that, again, we didn't set out to make it sound that way. It just happened.
Yeah.
By the nature of the beast of the way and where we recorded, the gear we were using at the time. Yeah.
Well, how did you guys, like, since he's so young, how did you end up finding somebody that was into this style of music, or maybe he doesn't even like the style of music? Maybe he can play it. Well, there's some guys they're not like I just can play them. They're like, I like playing. Maybe he's that. I don't know, because I don't know the guy. Like, how did you find him? Young and has the talent to do it. Like, how'd you end up scouting him out? You guys are old enough to be his dad easily.
More or less. Yeah. So I guess he probably first popped on the radar by covering Flow of Maggots, I think.
I think that was first.
He covered Flow of Maggots. It was on YouTube.
So you were a fan of the band
Yes,
first?
I already was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a fan, and so we saw that, and we're like, oh wow, this is pretty fucking interesting. You know what I mean? Like, check this out. And we knew we were in a situation where we were going to have to get a new drummer. You know, that's just things were going that way again. You know, people that are in bands, you see the signs. And I actually met him, I think, in person for the first
Las
time
Vegas
in Las
Death
Vegas.
Fest. Yeah, 2018.
Is that the one? Is that the one Roger puts on, or
That was previously Mike Gordon.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Mike Gord put that on. And there was a drum kit set up outside, and we were hanging out with Willa from Defeated Sanity, and he ended up playing some Brodequin tunes on the drums, and it was pretty fun. And we started talking then, and one thing led to another. And then when it was completely obvious that we needed to get some guy, Mike and I had already decided this is who we're going to ask about it. Because he had the elements we were looking for. He had the elements of speed, like from the John era, so to speak. And he also had the technical side of Chad. So it was a wonderful mix. And we thought, this has got to be who we go for. Yeah. And he jumped on board, and it's been the way it's been ever since.
Yeah, it's been going great, I think.
Yeah.
so? I'm sure you noticed, like, obviously bands like Mortician, for example, like, as opposed to 20 years ago, there's the blow up. But honestly,
Yeah.
Brodequin's kind of like that too. It's funny when I see kids wearing shirts or bringing them up. I'm like, I was like, dude, I remember them playing the Fantasy and shit in Cleveland. I was like, nobody was even there.
Right, absolutely right. Yeah,
So-
no, it's mind blowing to us as well. You know, it's one of those things where it's I don't know, it's not funny like ha ha. It's just kind of funny like, because like you said, we remember that shit, or going down and playing Pensacola to no one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's different now, and it's great. It's awesome. We appreciate all the old fans and the new fans equally, because it's super cool. And you get the younger mix too, which is super cool as well, because you've got guys that weren't even alive when instruments came out. You know? So it's pretty humbling, and we're super appreciative of it.
Which one is it? Both of you, as brothers, who does the most of lyric writing? You guys, you had those real torture,
I
like
do
lyrics that
all
are definitely. I remember like reading. I'm like, ah, damn.
I do all the lyrics, and they're all based on
Like-
historical events.
Like
you know?
true torture.
Right. Historical events or eyewitness accounts, or there's some cases where they actually have, you know, Inquisition documents that you can kind of reference and so on and so forth. And that's where all the inspiration comes from. The artwork, everything, you know, comes from the whole Middle Ages, if you will.
And then you and Mike being brothers, you guys here in death metal. Who heard death metal first, and what were your favorite
That was
bands?
Jamie.
That was Jamie.
Was it?
Which one's you? Which one
I
you older?
remember
I'm
the
older.
story really
Yeah.
well, actually.
Well,
How old are you guys? For the record, how old are both of you?
I'm 44.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, so there's a 6 year
There's a
gap.
6 year gap.
Well, I was thinking you guys are like 2 years
No,
apart.
there's a 6 year gap between us.
Yeah, it was. I remember like it was yesterday. It was hilarious. We moved to a new place because we moved a shitload when we were growing up.
Yeah, we did.
And Jamie ended up meeting a guy at school. His name was Jeff Smith. He played in a band called Sathanos.
Right, which
At the
later went
time.
to play in a band called Batham.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awful.
it's- dude, no-
Yeah.
Nobody brings them up like they're
Right.
ripping evil fucking demo.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
great. Like that's like
Yeah.
a black metal, U.S. black metal gem.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, everybody will bring up, like Necrovore or
Yep.
Profanatic. I'm like, I was
Yep.
like, what? I was like, that Saphinus demo is amazing.
Right, it's
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
killer. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So he ended up meeting him, and we were always metalheads anyway.
Right.
And you know how it is. You're always looking for that next thing. Well, Jeff broke out the next thing, and Jamie brought home a copy of Schizophrenia on cassette.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was Slowly Rot or
I don't remember.
it might have been Altars of Madness. Yeah, that's what it
Oh,
was,
it's probably
yeah.
Altars of Madness.
Altars of Madness, and it was just over from that point.
Yeah, then
know,
it was the
like
Constant Search, right?
Yeah.
So when you guys were both searching that, when you got into it,
Yep.
did you guys argue like, I like Deicide more than Morbid Angel or anything like that? Like you
The
guys
only
had,
argument I honestly remember, because we liked the same shit, the only one I remember was the Napalm Death argument.
which was what?
I remember Jamie hated From Enslavement to Obliteration.
Okay.
Remember that? He's
I
like, God,
remember
that's
that.
stupid.
Yeah,
He was like, you're a scum only guy?
not
Or did you
necessarily.
like that?
I just, it took a while for them to catch on for me. You know what I mean? Like it just took a while. Like it became an acquired taste. You know?
I can understand it. 'Cause don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, like From Enslavement and shit, I like it for Extremity, but it's not something I always put on because
Yeah.
it's got kind of like the hits on there. Some
Yeah,
of the shit
right.
is just like, it's a few seconds long or whatever.
Right.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
I like Scum better because it has more, Siege of Power and more like actual songs.
Right. I get that.
But I get the From Enslavement for the time it was something completely new, like
Yeah,
different that nobody was doing. So I
Absolutely.
mean, I see both angles, but is it something I'm putting on every week? No.
Right. No, I
Other
get
than that, though, we're pretty much the same. We like the same shit.
Yeah.
That's the only one in freaking years.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I would say so. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just keep digging. Of course, back in the day, you've got all the zines, so you're ordering all the demos from the zines and so on and so forth. And then you're reading, of course, thanks lists.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
that's
albums
what
you're getting,
I tell people. That's exactly how I
Yeah.
What we found out about bands as kids was Thankless,
Yeah.
and the bands you're already listening to, you looked in the albums, what shirts were they wearing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's how you found everything back then. Yeah, I know. Now
then-
we got it made now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you get these kids. That's what annoys the shit out of me. Like, they'll go on YouTube. They're 15 years old, and they'll be listening. Like, say they hear Brodequin first,
Yep.
and then they'll hear Possessed Seven Churches. This ain't death metal.
Right.
I'm like, dude, that's like
Right.
completely the wrong
You
lens.
went
Like,
the wrong way.
yeah. I was like, that's not like. There's a huge gap. Like, you don't understand the history.
That's right.
Not everyone's a historian, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and I get it. So it's an awesome thing, but it's got its downside too.
Right, for sure. Absolutely does.
Yeah, it's just annoying. Well, just when they come to comments and say something completely fucking stupid, and which makes no goddamn sense. I'm like, dude, you're definitely a 15-year-old virgin living in mom's basement saying something stupid like that. You have to be. So the band's here to stay now. Though you got it back, or you guys got
Well, we've already begun the process for the next album.
Okay.
As far as new music, putting the artwork together and things like that, all very rudimentary at this point. I mean, it goes through phases where I'll come across a piece of artwork and say, I think this is great. And then as I dig into the lyrics, like, I don't know if that's going to fit really anymore. So it goes and gets put on a shelf for some future use. But right now, I think I'm narrowing it down to 2 or 3 different pieces, that I might want to use for that. And I think I've got lyrics for 6 or 7 tracks now, something like that.
What were you guys doing during that downtime? That 15? Yeah, it probably was. It's got to be close to.
Yeah.
If it wasn't 15 years, it was damn close to that.
It
You guys
had
got.
to be somewhere.
Like, what were you doing?
So-
guys both doing?
Well, we went through a series of family losses.
Oh
and,
shit!
and so what happened there is our entire family, when I say family, core family, mom, dad, grandparents, aunts, uncles type of thing, they were all wiped out in about a 4 to 5 year period.
Wow.
And so what ends up happening is just as you kind of come back to reality from one, you're dealing with another one. And
It's almost like some Brodequin lyrics right there, real life
it
shit.
really is, right? Yeah, and so you're dealing with that, and you're put in positions where you've never had to, think about taking care of someone's estate, and it's a tremendous time sink, and lawyers are involved, and bill collectors, and all this crazy shit you've never thought about, and then you've got work and regular life on top of that, and there's just no room for sitting down and being like, all right, it's time to write an album. It was impossible.
Yeah.
So once we got everything kind of settled, and then the dust settled, and we're kind of good to go, then it kind of came back and said, you know what, now we can kind of do this. We've got the time to do this now. Let's roll. So that's where we're at now, and it's a good place to be as far as that goes. But it took a while to get there.
Yeah. What did you guys both cut your hair? I mean, I had to cut my hair too. Because Hulkamania was running wild over here, so I didn't walk around speaking of Napalm Death looking like Shane Embry.
Right, no, I
So what year did you guys officially cut your hair?
Oh shit, I don't
So
know.
because I didn't recognize you both because
Right.
dude, we have even still other live photos of you guys and
Oh,
shit
yeah, right.
from back. And yeah, you both have long hair.
Well, of course. Yeah. No, Mike
I
cut his
shaved my head
first.
soon.
Yeah,
It was
his-
like before we recorded Methods, I think.
Getting tired of dealing with that
Well,
shit.
what happened is we did this little mini tour in Canada. It was like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 shows or something. And as soon as I got home, I shaved my head. Because I was like, fuck this.
I
I've
remember
never.
that.
As soon as you
wake up in the morning, and you got to spend an hour trying to comb all the.
Dude, it's so funny you say it, 'cause when I cut mine, I'm like, it's just fucked up. I was like, when I cut it, I'll let it grow and I'll keep an eye on that. As soon as I cut it, and the first week, I'm like, fuck growing it back. I was like, what the hell was I doing? I was like, my life is like 100 times easier
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I
You
get
didn't
it.
know you've had it for years.
And Brennan just cut it.
Oh, you used to have long hair too?
Like in April, I cut it.
Yeah.
I said, fuck this too.
Life's
Yeah.
better.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a heat trap, behind the drums. You're just like, and it's
Yeah.
sticking to you, and it's just not pleasant,
I get it. I get it.
When did you cut yours then?
It's been at least 10 years at least.
Okay.
Just-
Don't miss it.
No, I don't miss it at all.
But do you kind of miss it on stage? Because on stage,
I miss it there.
because it's kind of like your
Yeah.
sword and shield.
Right, exactly. I miss it on stage. That's it. Otherwise, everything's just too easy without it.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can see that. Any guys overseas shit? European tours? Anything I could be doing? Or because you guys are kind of like you guys could be doing headline shit. I heard. I wasn't there. I almost made it out. It was what was it? It was Regurgitation for sure. I think Mortician, Malignancy. You guys and that's Chicago.
Yep.
I heard you guys are. I've heard the great that people are like, oh, dude, they were so fucking awesome. That's what I heard.
We felt good about that one.
We
That
felt
was a
good about that. It
fantastic
was a good show.
show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Well, the crowd was good too for you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
they
yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Because I heard a lot of crowd response. People in my comments like, "Oh, dude, yeah, you just brought it when they were fucking awesome." I was like, "Well, I did get to see them."
Right.
I was like, "Just been a long time."
It was a long time. Yeah, no, it was a good show. That was a good one. There's things that are being discussed. A lot of the promoters are already pushing to 2025, especially overseas. They're trying to get that lined up. So there's some discussion here and there about it. but nothing's set in stone yet as far as that goes. We'll see what happens. You know, it's one of those things with trying to schedule it properly and make sure everything's good. And it's hard because, you know, when you look at airline tickets now to do something in, say, you know, May of next year, it's very difficult. The prices are going to change dramatically. So it's hard for the promoters on one side, and it's hard for us on another to say, yeah, absolutely, we'll come for that amount and base our travel off of it, because if something goes sideways, then we're on the hook for, you know, another $1,000 or $2,000, depending on what the tickets go to. So it's difficult right now, but I'm sure something will work out.
What time are you guys playing today?
We're 11:30 tonight.
Oh, so you're towards the end. Yeah, as I'm hoping to check your set. You might need to give me that wrist pass, goddammit.
Let's see what we could do, man.
So yeah, so I don't know if this gets me in or not. I was like, I want to watch him. I want to see how this homeboy holds up to Chad. I'm gonna be the old guy critic. I've seen them both. See how he holds up. Now he's gonna be extra sweaty in those goddamn sneakers.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be a fucking rush up there, man. I need the adrenaline rush. I will say, man.
There should be a lot of people watching. Yeah,
I would think so. Yeah, it's a great stage too.
You got stage E or what? What do you sound stage?
Yeah. Saw Insect Warfare there a couple years ago. It was ridiculously good. You know, well, it was more than a couple.
But you guys at the other night, there should be a lot of people watching.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I hope it'll be a good crowd. It'll be fun.
And you guys want to add, promote anything? Like, yeah.
I don't think so. I think you've done a good job on that. You know, all of our stuff's at Season of Mist right now. You can get it. Well, I think you can get it. They went through a phase where a lot of stuff was sold out.
Dude, every time we get your reissues of the early album stuff, we haven't got the new album or anything in, but the stuff, I mean, it sells really well for Hells. Every time, like, we've restocked it multiple times.
Good.
Because Jay, like, you repressed the CD. Was it you that repressed the CDs? Or
I did a repress.
Did we get those from you then? I think.
Yeah, I did instruments with bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Festival. I did a repress.
Because wherever we got, I don't know if we got them direct, because Chase does all the stock.
Okay, yeah.
And we got them, and they sold out immediately.
Wow, that's great.
So I thought it was cool, because I'm like, you know, it's a band I grew up on. I'm like, you know, it's cool to see these new kids like them. You know what I mean?
It's cool, and it doesn't sit on your shelf for 2 years.
Well, no, there is that. That's always fun. But I'm just saying, when I'm pulling shit in some new band, I'm like, what the fuck even is this bullshit? I don't know what this is. It's just more fun for me seeing the stuff sell that I grew up on, that I have and all. I just like seeing it.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So when I say, I'm like, oh, it's fucking cool.
Right.
So, all right, well, that's it for this one, Devils. You gonna fucking hit stop on that air dog, Mr. Cameraman? Oh, he's not even fucking doing shit. We got L-Cat. Later, goddammit.